Let's go San Francisco.
Let's go. Right.
So I am here. I am Artenix. I am the chief recapper for EUA. I am competing in EUE, and that I'm pointing at the screen, but you don't know because I have no webcam.
Right.
But that is Azazriel, who is my guest coach for this week. He's going to be doing the Precap with me because he is competing in this league.
I am.
It's part of the Furious Fae. Fortunately, we got the schedule earlier today, so we can look at that. But first, let's have a little look at the teams. We have got a Chaos, 2 Dark Elves, a Wood Elf, Bretonnian, Orcs, Amazon, Necromantic, Lizard, and Khemri. So I think overall, it's a bit of a punchy league. Obviously, Wood Elves aren't. Amazon and Dark Elves are kind of punchy adjacent. They do a bit of punching, but they're mostly focused on the dodging aspects of the game. But then we've got Chaos, Orc, Lizardman, Khemri, who are really Necromantic, who are really not going to be doing much of anything else. So first, you go for it.
I was going to say Necromantic can do other things, but this Necromantic team in particular, as you will see when we get there,
have a little look-see. So, Pillar Biters first. This is Chaos team. Scoring is optional, so even more credence to the theory that we're just punching and nothing else. We have named team, but this is, I think, sans like weird Minotaur stuff. This is the only real Chaos start because you get all 4 positionals you care about. Well, all 4 positionals that you're allowed that aren't the Minotaur. Fill out the team and then you get 3 rerolls, and that's exactly 1k.
Yeah. Like you could make a case for starting with an apothecary to stop any Chaos Warrior injuries in the early games, but
true, you would have to give up a reroll for it though, and Chaos really needs rerolls due to the lack of any and all skills that actually do anything other than just provide strength. So I think 3 reroll start is probably better. In terms of names, I like these names. I like them quite a lot. I love this pun idea. I wish they would have gone with it in the with the Chaos Warriors as well, with more puns. I just like puns though, to be fair, more than anything else. But yeah, that's the Chaos team. We got 2 Dark Elves, and I believe they are both using the Witch Elf start. They are indeed. First we have Biceps Salunga. We've made some kilometers again. I assume these are references to some sort of sport that I don't get, or bodybuilding or something like that. But I don't know who any of these people are. So, but they're quite clearly names of people who exist in real life. Hopefully.
They definitely aren't base names.
They definitely aren't base names. I don't know, Pablo Garcia sounds pretty dark elfy to me. I don't know what your problem is. Evening, Bazik. Welcome to the Precap. In terms of this start, this is one of the 2 starts I see, or 3 I suppose, on Dark Elves. The other one taking all 4 blitzers, or the other 2 both take all 4 blitzers, and then that just has a slight variance of whether you want the runner or not. Yeah. I like both. Both are fun. I like the Witch Elf in this league. You've got a lot of teams. The whole Chaos team is 8 and 9 armor. Orcs are almost entirely 9 armor. We've got high armor on the Khemri, especially if you can get injuries on the Tomb Guardians. That's really good. We've got decent armor on the Bretts, obviously not the Wood Elves, but we've got a couple of 9 armor pieces on Necromantic. Lizardmen are all 9 armor, so getting Surfs off, it can be extremely effective ways of removing players when you're into things with such high armor. So I do like the Witch Elves, and the Witch Elves are just fun to use. They are squishy though, and starting without an apothecary can be a bit scary when you only have AV7, and they're going to spend... Yeah, they're going to be targeted, basically. They might spend a decent amount of time on the floor unless you can protect them. But the same goes for the runner if you're going for the runner start. So, but the runner is less expensive and less important of a positional than the Witch Elf.
I must say, with two Dark Elf teams, and we've got obviously Wood Elves, Amazons, and the Skinks on the Lizard Men, it's not actually unfeasible that at some point they will pick up an assassin. At least one of them.
True. So I think Amazons is like the only matchup where you're like, I really would like an assassin.
Yes, but they're certainly not useless in other matchups in this league.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just I feel like the league is not long enough. Dark Elves are so expensive. Like, you're getting the Apothecary next, and then getting the fourth Blitzer, I assume.
Yes,
You have to
and then
drop the 100k on a reroll at some point. Somebody's probably going to die. You have to replace, you might want the second Witch Elf or the Runner before you get an Assassin. And all of these pieces are so expensive because they're elves. So even the linemen are 70k. But yeah, this is the second team with good old Coach Zazriel, which is different from a Zazriel, but not different enough that I'm not going to get them confused.
I can't wait until our match.
Yeah, good old
the rights to the names.
Yeah, the other one has to change their name, except you can't on Blood Bowl, but whatever. You learn me to play. I believe these are base names. They might not be, but I think they are, which is
They're
sad.
exceedingly similar to base names. At least.
ULMTP. Let's go. Chant. Yeah, it might be. They might be like clever subversions of the base names that I don't know, but I think they're base names. Which are make 'em aside. Now we have the man himself, Furious Faye.
Certainly not base names. I can
Certainly
tell you
not
that.
base names. Would you like to go through your names?
No. You can
Okay.
go through them.
We've got the Fast and the Furious. We've got Be Very Afraid. Maximum Capixity. Your Fate is Sealed. Feline Grace. The Final Countdown. Hooked on a Failing. You Can Never Face Me. Feeling Faint. Not in the Spritest. And Opper Sprites Attract. Amazing. I'm very fond of the puns. All the puns available. Other than that, would you like to go through why you went for this this start?
Well, I changed a lot of my team over the past couple days because I was originally going for an exceedingly greedy start where you only go one reroll and go for 3 catches as well. But that would not have ended well with the number of punchy teams.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I've decided that 2 war dancers rather than a war dancer and a tree, because having the extra war dancers, especially without having any catches, is much better for scoring.
Yeah, I feel like teams that got scolded. No, this was probably the team. Any team with base names gets scolded during the Precap. That's how it works. You learn me how to play, but the Wood Elves weren't. But
I
yes,
did. Well, I mean,
well
my
maybe.
names were different. But
Oh, do you mean
my names were
scolded for
different
having 3 catches? Quite possibly. Oh yeah, in terms of greedy start, yes. I believe so, but it is no longer.
No, it's been rectified.
It's been rectified, and we have 2 rerolls now. And both war dancers, but I think you have both war dancers anyway.
Yes, no, I had both war dancers originally.
Yeah, there was another Wood Elf team that got criticised for not having both war dancers because they're just really good. They're just really, really good. Yes, you are hoping to beat up on a one reroll Wood Elf team. Well, next up, Coach Kloppe. Highball Uptown. Oh, nope, we have not. This is still okay. I had a secret little look at this team. I like the Bretts. Bretts are probably my favourite race in the game. Rock and roll speed, we've got a motto, but we don't have name changes, which is sad. There's things you can do. I don't really know. I don't know. The His name is Coach Klopp, so the obvious naming system is Liverpool players, right? But there's jokes here. There's a rock and roll thing going on. There's so many different ways you could name these players that aren't the base ones. But he's not done that, and I'm very disappointed. He'd better do that before the game, before his first game, or else I will be very disappointed. Oh, you're playing them, I think, aren't you?
Yes,
That's
I
real.
am their opponent.
Okay, just
in the
refuse
first
to play the game
so-
until they change the names, would you? Adamantly refuse. Yeah. Also, I hate this start as well. So the Bretts don't need a lot of rerolls for punching because you have 8 effective block at the start. You're 4 wrestle and 4 block, but you have no ball handling ability at all. You're picking up on a 3+, which is far from guaranteed, and you have no sure hands or anything. So you probably will need more than 1 reroll to get the ball down the field. I can see why you would want to start with an apothecary and an extra player in a league with this much punching, but I think especially with the fixtures being released or the schedule, and you see you're against Wood Elves first, you aggressively don't need an apothecary and a bench against Wood Elves. He says, having lost one of his blitzers in his first game against Wood Elves last time he played Bretts, but that's not the point. Numerically, you don't need it. And you do need the extra reroll to keep up with the Wood Elves' ability to just fuck around with the ball.
We are exceedingly good at fucking around with the ball.
Also,
and
why are the
not much
peasants?
else.
Why are the peasants on top of the blitzers? Come on, this is like reverse Bretonia, except this one peasant.
I was going to say the peasants are on top of the blitzers apart from the one peasant, which makes it
Doug.
even worse because it's not even
It's not even symmetrical.
Or all in line, I guess.
Oh well, can't be helped. We have the man in chat himself, Bazik, with the standard orc start. Do. I think it's probably the most effective orc start. Why zig or zag when you can zug?
It's a solid question.
It's very existential.
Yes. My answer to that would be I cannot zug, for I do not have any strength players.
Oh well.
So
That's
I
a good
have to
answer.
zig or zag.
Zigging and zagging will be done. Yeah, I like this. I actually, after thinking and hearing other people talk about it for a while, I don't actually like starting with a thrower or runner or whatever they're called on the orcs.
Runners, I think.
Runners. Because they have the exact same stats as a lineman, and the only thing they get is throw and sure hands. And throw is useless. You don't throw when you're playing orcs. That's just not how you play orcs. And I mean, sure hands is useful, but you don't hurt for rerolls. You have 4 block and decent agility, and you get 3 rerolls with this start. So you don't hurt for rerolls. So you can use a reroll to pick up the ball to effectively imitate sure hands. Yeah, thrower has less AV, and also they have less movement than the blitzer, which doesn't come into effect that much because you're going to be moving in a cage most of the time, but you can get the final sprint to the end zone much easier with the blitzer, with that 1 extra tile of movement, plus block making him harder to sack. Yeah, especially in early leagues when basically the only wrestler you have to worry about is the Bretts. We're not like going to be Wood Elf leap wrestling in on the first couple games.
Just you.
Likely, yeah, and you don't need an Apo. There we go. So, effectively, what I'm saying, approved. Good names, named team. We're not zigging or zagging, we are zugging, and we're definitely zugging because we don't have a thrower. Great job, everyone. Great job all round. We might not be zugging these fellas. They're not fellas at all. That's the exact opposite of what they are.
Gals.
We're not going to be zugging them possibly because they have dodge on every player, because that's how the Amazons work. this is like the Amazon start. I'm not sure there is another Amazon start.
There isn't, because this start gets you 3
This start,
rerolls and every positional.
it gets you a bench, every positional, 3 rerolls, and an apothecary off the start, which helps with your 7 AV because all your players are so cheap because they all have base stats -1 AV. And they have 4 blodge players at the start. Like you're not even going to need those 3 rerolls that much because you have 4 blodge players and every single player has dodge, so you can do the run away from the line thing.
Yep.
I assume these are our names. Are named?
Yes. I don't. These are not Amazon-based names. I can confirm that.
Thank you. But I don't know whether they have anything to do with the old Pink Panther here, or the not Pink Panther, because we haven't got a pink skin, and they're not. So that's what it says at the top. Dum 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 dum. Overall, probably one of the powerhouses in these early TVs, as Amazons always are, just because of the amount of useful skills they have, the complete opposite to the Chaos. Next up, Royals of the Grave. The past shall become the present. All will heal. I feel like that's a reference to something, but I don't know what it is. Because I am silly. Fox White. It's the greedy necromantic start. It's very exploitable, but if things go well, it can be really strong. So we have all positionals other than the ghouls, which is generally fine. The werewolves can do ball carrying just as well as the ghouls can.
The werewolves are actually faster than the ghouls.
They do, but they don't have dodge, so there's a trade-off there, and that's where the trade-off comes in, because with this start you do only get 2 rerolls, which is kind of worrying, because you have no sure hands, you have no dodge, you only have 2 block. And you're going to want to be like actively blocking with the flesh golems and the werewolves, because 4 strength and claw is useful. So you're going to be doing blocks that don't have block, and you only have 2 rerolls. So if things go badly, they could end very badly for this team with the greedy start. But if things go well and you get MVPs or good SPP on a couple of the werewolves, maybe a flesh golem on the whites, you are cruising for a bruising. Good team. Good.
I do not believe these are renamed though.
Oh, I didn't even check. I didn't even see. No, they aren't. Yeah, they're definitely not. Instantly, I hate them. 0 out of 10. Sucks to be them. Jurassic Fun. Marshall 76 SVK. Svenska. There is no team motto. Enter the team motto. And the base name players too, so that's like double failure. But other than that, this is the only Lizard Man start. You only get 2 rerolls, which is kind of sad because you have no block, but you just... if you don't start with all of the Saurus and the Crocs, then you have to start with an extra Skink, which sucks. And just everything sucks. You don't get SPP on them. And they're hard to level up as it is, because they all have 1 agility. It's just not fun. It's not really fun to have every single punch be a 1 in 9 to fail either, especially with only 2 rerolls, and the Skinks are very capable of dropping the ball, because they do only have 3 agility, even though they have stunty and dodge. So, yeah. They're exploitable early. Generally, I like getting lizards as my first matchup in a league where lizards are in, because although the Saurus are difficult to deal with, they become exponentially more difficult when they have block and guard and whatever. Mighty Blow, Break Tackle, so on and so forth. Finally, get you a sarcophagus.
This team has gained a motto since
Wrap
I
them in
last checked
tissue.
them.
We've got motto, ladies and gentlemen. We have a motto. and their named players. I do like these names quite a lot. Gardner Some Geezer is a top-level pun. The highest tier pun. The rest of them aren't puns, though. So, you know, they're good. I do like them. These are kind of funny. But they would take top spot if they were all as level puns as the first Tomb Guardian. By the way, Khemri's one of those teams where there's actually quite a lot of starts you can do, or at least a lot of thinking that goes into starts. This one is cool because the Throw-Ras tend to eat SPP when they're on the team, because they're the ones with sure hands, so they're the ones you pick up the ball with all the time. So this way you do get more SPP on the blitzers. However, it means you don't have any sure hands on the team. With only 2 agility, that's really sad. You do have 3 rerolls, so it's not the end of the world, and sure hands is just a reroll saver. But again, with only 2 block, you kind of want those rerolls for blocking with the Tomb Guardians, because they're going to be doing a lot of it. But this is a very... Khemri strikes me as a very, very high or very low team, right? Imagine they go in their first game and they always pick up the ball on the blitzers. They just roll high on that, make it to the end, get a level up on 1 blitzer with 2 touchdowns, and they get like MVP plus a Cass on a Tomb Guardian that gets block. And they go into the second game and they've got a guard thrower and a block Tomb Guardian, and it's great. It's amazing. And then they can just run from there, just run over the league. Or
personally, I hope they don't do that because I am their second game.
Oh no. Or the game starts, they get surfed by one of the Tomb Guardians gets surfed by a witch elf and dies because it has decay, and they fail every pickup roll, and the dark elves score 4 touchdowns, and then they're depressed because they're down 100k because one of the Tomb Guardians dies. They have to play the second game with no Tomb Guardians, and it's a tragedy, and everything is terrible. And then the Tomb Guardian that died gets MVP just to rub it in, and they roll a 1 on the money.
That would be just the worst.
That's just how it be sometimes. That's what happens if you don't pray to Nuffle enough. But there we go. That is all 10 teams. Very proud of this league. They all managed to join, accepted their tickets. Very great job, everyone. I'm proud of all of you except the ones that didn't change your names. Bad. In terms of matchups, we have Khemri versus Lizards, which is going to be an absolutely hilarious matchup. Because there's just going to be turnovers everywhere. Both sides only have... Lizards only have 2 rerolls. Khemri have 2 agility on every player and only 3 rerolls and only 2 block, and Lizards have no block, and it's just going to be a tragedy the whole time. Every block is a 1 in 9. The Saurus can't punch the Tomb Guardians, but there's too many Saurus for all the Tomb Guardians to mark them. Oh, it's going to be good. I love this matchup. At low TVs, it's so fun to watch. Royals of the Grave. That is the Necromantic team versus the Chaos team. Again, it's the same idea. We've got 3 rerolls versus 2 rerolls and virtually no block versus absolutely no block. So hoping that devolves into an equal level of absurdity, because those are the best Blood Bowl games to watch when all strategy is thrown out of the window and Nuffle just blesses one of the players occasionally. But actually, in reality, both of the players are being killed immediately. Next, we have Paw
with Dark Elves.
Dark Elves versus Amazons. That's actually not terrible, because Dark Elves don't rely on punches to win their games. And punching these will be hard.
Yes.
So I would like to see the ultimate Omega Brain play where they switch to an assassin, because they know their first matchup is... I feel like a Witch Elf is probably still better.
Yes.
But assassins are funny. And
they are funny.
this is the only This is the only start where you can even vaguely consider an assassin as valuable. Inverted commas. But hey, it should be a good game. That one might end with a whole bunch of touchdowns. Next we have Orcarino.
Mm-hmm. This is the other Dark Elves.
Yes, it is. Thou art correct. So, yeah, bit of an awkward matchup actually. The Orcs would have preferred one of the top four. These punchy, no reroll teams to just beat on for a while. But the Dark Elves are going to keep running away. They're going to be zigging and zagging instead of zugging. It's a tragedy. It's going to be a tragedy. Unless they fail all their dodges, in which case it won't be a tragedy. But it's very winnable for both teams, actually. It's just a really equal matchup. It's whichever team gets to do what its thing. If we get a bunch of removals or just have elves spend a bunch of time on the floor, the Orcs will have the advantage, but if they manage to just dodge away the whole time, they'll have their advantage in terms of moving the ball around with their increased movement.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, as mentioned before, Bretts versus Wood Elves. Bretts hate this. Their whole point, their whole identity is that they, like, when they go up against a punchy team, they're like, haha, you can't use your block on me because I marked you with a wrestle guy, and I have Dauntless, and most of my guys are AV8, and I have a bunch of players that I can sacrifice because they're peasants and I don't care about them. None of this applies to Wood Elves.
Matchup. Nope.
Basically,
We don't.
the whole
We don't have
interaction
any high
is,
strength.
yeah,
We don't have any.
it's not even a
We have
tree.
very little block. It's just sad. And we're just gonna run away from your peasants, basically.
I don't even care about the peasants. So it's just sad. It's really sad. Everybody's sad. The only thing, basically, what they're going to be doing is just like blitzing the war dancers with the wrestle guys every turn, and then as soon as any of them get knocked over, just immediately fouling with peasants. That's the play. That's how you do it. That's how you beat Wood Elves.
Yeah.
Unless they don't feel like having all of their players sent off. I suppose that is one advantage for having a bench. You can foul with more reckless
fouls,
abandon. Peasants, because you have more peasants to foul with. But anyway, that is our precap over and done with. You have closing comments?
No. I think pretty much everything I have to say has been said. So.
Well, which team are you most scared of? As Wood Elves.
As Wood Elves, I am rather scared of. At least, well, in the early, obviously, I'm scared of Amazons because they're very scary. But other than that, probably Dark Elves would be a pain. And then obviously later on, the later into the league I face, like Chaos, Necro, Lizard Men. Obviously, if the Khemri gets going, they're going to be. The Khemri I'm not too scared of because low agility, I can just run around them.
Yes.
But the Chaos with their Beastmen blitzes are very scary. And the Necromantic Werewolves can be quite scary, although less scary for me as compared to other people because Claw does nothing.
That just feels sad when you're like, oh, I just want my claw to be useful. I know it's effectively just the same as blitzing someone with high AV because it just reduces it to 7, so it's the same thing. It just feels bad because you don't get the little pop up that says your claw did something.
Yeah.
Who are you? Which matchup are you looking forward to the most?
Probably the Khemri matchup next week. Just because I really hope that they can just do nothing all game, and
and you just
that would make
get a
me
bunch
very
of
happy.
touchdowns to run through to the end of the league. Unfortunately for you, you do have Chaos as the final matchup.
Ooh, that's not good.
But anyway, thank you for hopping along. I will maybe have you on as a guest in future, maybe some of the other coaches. And good luck with